Why not?
Well, because if I control all the objects of where this convoy line is going to, you know, does it make sense for me to be able to read you all the way here? I don't know if there's any other good examples on the board.
Suez.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe a person can theorize saying this convoy line is not stopping here. It's going past. It's just taken over by the Brits or something like that. Maybe that's the idea.
Yeah, I could see that. This stuff is moving.
I used to see stuff, yeah.
It's not really just from the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
It would be all the supplies coming to the west coast
That's
of
right,
the U.S. from everywhere.
RC, I'm going to hit you over there too. So 2 destroyers are bombarding at 1.
Oh, you're attacking me on that, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
right.
2 at 2. Miss. Alright, your go.
Alright. I got 1 at 2. Miss.
2 at 2. Miss.
Miss.
2 at 2. Miss.
Miss.
2 at 2. Miss.
Gee.
Just give up already. 2 at 2. Miss. Miss.
Hit?
No,
Oh, it's
it's a militia.
Miss on the 2.
Closer.
Miss. Hit.
Okay. And I missed it. Alright. What was that? 7 minute rounds? Something
Yeah.
like that? It was ridiculous.
So I haven't bumped the Americans, so I'm gonna bump them down.
Yeah, and you take a buck
60.
from Australia too.
All right.
Look at you. You're making me move my stuff. Well done.
First Anzac deaths, I think. That's fine.
Yep.
All right.
Anzac's finally involved.
Yeah.
They lost 2 bucks in the convoy.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm a little bit more awake now. Well, I was still getting up. Germany did its turn, and Russia did its turn. So, now I'm awake. So it's day 3, Monday. It's Monday, right? Yeah. I kind of found a few things here, but Germany has successfully taken out Stalingrad, and they took out the last of the Baltic states there. Latvia, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And what else happened here? The Russians. What did you do with Russia? Did you attack anything?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You moved forward over there that way.
Can you grab me an infantry sculpture, James?
What's that?
Grab me an infantry sculpture.
Yeah. Since I'm on this side of the map, I'll just stick
Thank
here.
you.
So we had a bit of a battle up there. And in the English Channel there where this fleet marker is for the British. The Germans moved in a bunch of subs, and I wanted to use the Channel crossing, and I needed to eliminate those subs to be able to do it. So I moved my whole fleet in there. And then I used some extra transports to move some dudes across, since I had the fleet there with the transports. I managed to attack him with 4 aircraft on cap, and paired him with 4 destroyers.
Actually, I'm gonna need
And I fluked out, and I got them all in the first round, because otherwise they would have sunk, and then I would have been unable to find them. Or sorry, submerged. Let's see what else happened here. France went on a tear and took out northern Italy. And the British moved their forces from Lorraine down into southern France there, so they could act as a second impulse if needed, or a defensive line if he lost all his troops. See what happens there. Italy, as a result, has moved a lot of the attacking force that was in Suez into Rome, and it's building a new factory down there. Excellent work. We'll see what happens. There wasn't a lot of fleet lost there. I think they only brought in a transport, right? For a couple extra units.
Yeah, lost the transport.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fleet that was down here for the Italians, they came up here and they took out a coastal defense ship and a destroyer and a torpedo boat destroyer. The French have moved the fleet up to there.
Can you put this white chip underneath the purple chip where my transport is, And I also had the destroyer.
Oh, okay.
Fire transport.
Do you have?
And then to put the 4 dudes there.
Okay.
Wherever, like where the fleet is there.
Where the fleet is? Okay, I'll put it at this place.
And that's
Alright.
that.
Alright, so what else happened? British took Italian small.
Can I just have that spot for me for a second?
Sure, sure.
I want to move my American stuff around.
Yep. Okay.
Let me get out of your way.
Well, you're not in my way. I'm
Alright.
on this side.
The British moved their fleet from here, 4 spaces to there, from base to base, and they had to use the naval strategic move to move the battleship as well, because it only had a range of 3 with the base. The Australians moved from around here over to there so that they can combine. This fleet in here have convoy raided and landed some dudes here, so that's a pain. So all I managed to do here is move these guys forward. I built a tank. I got a motorized. We'll see if we can't either stop their progress or repel them later. They took a buck from Australia, so Australia went from 7 to 6. Not very big numbers there. What else did happen here? Australia convoyed here, failure. Now the big thing that happened is the American fleet that was left here moved to there, and it's been eliminated by these forces here. And then the Japanese also landed a dude here in Hawaii and took that. And they took the Pacific Northwest, so Washington and Oregon. Or is it just Washington? Maybe Washington. And yeah, so as a result, I rail moved this Canadian dude over, and the Americans are moving troops around. These troops didn't happen to be here last turn, so they're moving. Hopefully we can hunt them back out. Anything else spectacular happen?
Definitely not on the Russian front.
And the Japanese actually are reinforcing the Russian front, which is not spectacular for Russia. But yeah, when I woke up, first thing I saw was a transport sitting here all by itself and transport there all by itself. I was thinking, yeah, and then they moved. Yeah, that was the start of my morning. Yeah, oh no.
And Stalingrad has fallen too as well.
Oh yeah, Stalingrad. Your second last holdout.
Yeah.
Now you're down to 1, eh?
New Moscow.
Yeah. New Moscow in Novosibirsk there. Alright, so we'll see what happens. There's a lot less Axis forces in Northern Africa now, so that's one benefit of doing that up there. And it was nice to make somebody react to us for a change.
Sorry, with what?
It was nice to make somebody react to us for a change and get that Italy move instead of always moving back.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm
we're
going
gonna leave it
breakfast.
there.
Right.
We're starting July 43.
Yeah,
January
I'm
43.
6 o'clock.
Around July.
Oh, I gotta take my money, so I should be down some more.
Yeah, July 43 is now starting, so I'm gonna shut her down.
He was French.
Okay, we're on, what is it? July 43
I got
still.
nobody over there, so I don't even need to
So
think
this
about
is
that shit.
the French alignment here. They're crossing a river, so everybody's downgraded 1 and then upgraded 1 by the commander. Except for the planes don't get a downgrade, so that's what they've got here. Stack of tanks and tank destroyers and infantry and a couple of planes. And on the other side of the Loire,
So
this is a reverse.
you've got 2 shots at
marginal line
5 that
attack.
are
shots
first
at
strike.
Yeah.
Do you have
So,
any
and both
artillery?
sides have fortification.
Nope.
Okay.
What we've got here is
I'll open this
the
up so you
German
can see.
stuff, and that purple chip
Okay.
is
So 2 shots
Actually-
at 5.
2 shots at 5.
elite of the
One
right
hit.
units.
1 hit? Okay,
He's
so I'll
in.
take this guy off and then we'll put this guy out here like that. Okay, let's take this guy
Fortification
out.
is
This
what
guy's
we
got
got,
a
what,
gun.
+2 this turn?
Yeah, good +2.
Nice.
So I got
Mhm.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at 2.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, Dad. Just came to use your stove.
Oh, hey. How you doing, bud? 8, 10, 12 at 2. Come on. Come on, Frankie. Let's see if Frankie's not a fight.
Do better than those British just did.
I'm not -1, am I?
What do you mean?
For the river, yeah. But
You -1 for the river and you're +1 for the commander. So
Yeah, but I meant.
normal.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I was just thinking the fourth. No, that's not a thing.
I think so.
Yeah, that's not a thing. So 1, just 1. Don't 2.
Yeah, you got 2 1s in there.
Okay, good. 2. So then I got 3 mechs at 3. That's another hit.
Another hit.
So it's better than the British did already.
And I got a tank destroyer at 5. That's a hit. And I got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks. 2, 4, 6, 7 tanks at 6. Come on, 6 hits. 1, 2, 3.
3?
Oh well.
50% less.
And then this is a fighter going after your tactical.
Sure.
6. That's one of your tacticals down.
4, yeah.
We'll put that over there.
You got
And-
3 more you need over there.
What?
Yeah.
2 more. Oh right,
3.
yeah, for the tanks.
3.
3.
You
For
got
the tanks,
3 for
okay.
the tanks, yeah.
And then a medium bomber at 8. That's another hit.
Alright, so that would be out 4.
So 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 altogether.
No, 8 plus a
With 5.
plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
So 9 hits.
Okay, so you got 3 for your anti-aircraft.
Alright. Anti-aircraft at
3. Oh, 4.
5.
5, yes. 5.
Plus
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
But you survived.
You missed them all?
Missed them all.
Thank God.
You're doing bad.
Things are going good.
Okay,
Wow.
so 3 at 8 for my tanks. 2 hits.
2. Okay.
And 2 aircraft at 7. 2 hits.
None of them were targeted.
None of them. One was targeted. I'll take out a tank with that one.
So 1 and a tank.
So 1, that's 5 infantry. 5 at 6. Ooh, you're locked out.
Just 1.
Just 1.
Okay.
And I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 at 4. 4,
This is
8.
This is round 1, so that 4 is a huge bonus. Militia at 4. That's beautiful.
11. Yeah, but I got just 2 hits out of that.
2.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll take this off and put 3 on.
Yeah,
So does that fortification?
No, it stays there till the end of combat,
But,
and then if you conquer the territory,
you don't get the bonus for more than 1 round.
No.
So
That's what I meant.
his stuff all kicks down to
Just kicks down to the.
to whatever
commanders.
it would have started.
Okay, so now I've crossed the
right?
river. I've crossed the river, so everybody's going up 1.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the planes, but. So these guys and these guys and this guy.
Yeah,
So
so
everybody's
round 1 for.
That was good for me, boy. Holy crap. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
So that's the only combat you're making, hey? No,
No, there was that thing down there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going for Rome.
All right,
I was going to do one or the other.
sure.
Yeah. If I'd have known you were going to roll this bad, I would have went for Rome. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
6, all right.
at 3. 1, 2, 3.
3 hits.
And I've got 3 at 4. 1. And I've got 1 at 6. There's another one. And I got. It doesn't matter with the fighter now, does it? So I've got 3 and 4 is 7. So 2, 3, and 4 is 7. At 7. 1, 2. Oh, shit. Just 2. And then the medium bomber at 8. And that's a hit. So altogether it's 2, 4, 6, 8.
8 hits. All right, there they are on the table. So I should keep actually one of these guys back because anti-aircraft. Yeah, I took the anti-aircraft, so that's 3, 4,
5, 6, 7. One more.
So it would be that one then. That was correct. Alright, so I'm going to go 3 at 7. Bad. Well, 2. 2
2 hits. Okay.
1 at 6. Miss. And I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 at 5. Way better than last time. There's 3.
3. Okay.
And then I have 1, 2, 3.
At 3.
3 at 3. 1.
1. So that's all my infantry and motorized infantry. Whew, what do you got left?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Tanks playing, what is that?
Okay, I got 3 mech.
Retreat.
Good.
There you. And that's it. Now continue.
Okay, 3 mechs at 4, so that's 1.
The aircraft retreat is a handy thing.
And a tank destroyer.
At the end of any round, you can pull out, but once you start
That's a
pulling back,
miss.
it's too late, right?
Yeah.
And I got 7, so 2, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've got 5 altogether now.
Yeah. So I'm going to roll 3 at 7. 1 hit. And 1 at 5. Miss. She's
So
yours.
1 hit?
Yes, 1 hit.
And that's Bavaria, so you lose the rocket.
Who's the
You
rock?
take this off. You lose the fortification.
And some minor fraction of France.
And you take this
Well, I
off.
don't know if it's really worth
So
it.
that's 3 up for France, 3 down for Germany.
Right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'll switch your spots.
Yeah, no worries. That's a weird one. I've rarely seen
Oh
the
shit.
initiation of hostilities going that way across the national.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at the same time, your income was in the 80s before we
Yeah.
did this tournament because you have so much of
Oh,
Russia
yeah.
and Turkey and the Middle East.
Yeah.
And so, here, let's take this off and put this on. I'm not going to bother putting a 5 spot under it because you're probably going to attack Bavaria.
Yeah.
There would be a good chance of that. Let's take these back here.
You know, one rule they should have in this: if you're gonna make aircraft retreat, make them only retreat if there's an airbase existing
Or only retreat one space, maybe.
or one space.
The
Yeah.
same way we have it with
carriers. Yeah.
with the carrier,
Totally.
because it's kind of ridiculous if you can fly
I agree.
4 spaces away,
I agree. Yeah, fully. That makes sense.
and
to me.
and as we said, not retreat to a battle.
Mhm.
Okay, so
You
I've
can't
got
retreat from one battle to a new battle.
I've got +2 on my convoy there.
Yep.
Oh, 3.
I'll share yours.
Yep.
Well, there
Hey!
you go. At least got one.
Yeah, you got the $1 off. Here, I'll just take it for you right
Sure,
here.
that sounds good.
Okay. So, now what do we do? Okay.
I'm just going to shut this off here while you figure it out. Yeah, we're still in July 43.
Could you pass me that there commander, German commander, in the tile? You can pass the whole tile.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And things have been
You mean
going
the
oddly.
task force marker?
The,
I'm gonna roll for the general's retreat, and 6 he succeeds.
Germans have moved
You
stuff
lose.
in here.
Yep.
British reinforced that, but the
Okay,
The
so
big star of the
grab
show
my
here
American
is
minority.
the temporary
Actually, I might as well just roll.
I moved some stuff off the board if that's
change.
okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
This is all.
I know you got stuff that you're doing battle boards and stuff, right? You gotta-
Yeah.
So I need a low roll.
A low roll
so
for
there,
what?
there are more German forces here than you can
Oh,
see.
yeah. Okay.
However, currently the French and the British have
3.
southern Bavaria,
So you're
southern
1 to 6,
Germany,
yeah. You got it.
Belgium,
I got
and
another
northern
purple.
Italy, which is crazy. But you got a lot of money. So it's not going to take too
Let's get
long.
something wicked this time.
You know.
All the other stuff's stupid.
Oh, you're getting some.
Code talkers.
Oh, look at that! You
There
have
you
code talkers. What do they give you?
No.
I think there's three naval units can go one extra space, one turn, something like that.
Cool. So basically, the strategic naval movement, but you can use it extra.
No, this is on attack move.
Oh, an attack move, even better.
Yeah.
All
Be even
right.
better if I had some boats.
And that's the Italian Navy. You got quite a bit yet.
Okay, so
They've been sending it out and attacking everybody.
can I have that spot over there?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna need to count my shit up.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do that, I'm gonna do my convoy raids against you guys over there with the Italians. That's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
So starting with this one here,
that's him.
that's you
Nope.
there. So
I'll roll.
I think most of them are gonna be against
It's right here.
Where is it? Wait.
you. Right here, man.
I got one. Beat a one.
2, so that makes it 4. So you lose 3 out of that one.
Which convoy raid is it?
This one right here.
Alright.
Next one.
This one is gonna go that direction.
So you're on a different convoy raid?
So that's 4, 6. I'm looking at 6.
2.
So you lose 3 out
Cut
of
it
that one.
out.
I got one down here from this guy.
Plus one.
He's gonna go for up to 2, I think.
Plus one.
There's 4 actually
6.
on that
Oh
one.
yeah, okay. So
7.
I got
So
3.
4.
So he took 4.
no, because I didn't go to war against those
No,
dudes.
but there's French for 1 and FEC for 3.
Right, so there's only 2 max I could take off of you, not 4. You said before there's 4 on this convoy line, but only 2 of them are. Oh, sorry, yeah. I
3
saw,
plus
yeah,
1.
yeah, I saw.
Yeah, two different nations, yes.
Yeah.
2
I,
nations,
I
but
thought this one was a
Yeah.
1 from this angle. Look,
Here's my French dollar.
I know the numbers are a little
Fantastic.
small from about
yeah,
5 feet away
Yeah,
and
yeah.
upside down.
that's right.
And the font's kind of an odd font. It's not a standard block.
Can you
and
have me an
stuff.
American card over
No, it
there?
looks like I'm handing you an American card.
Yeah, like a naval one.
Oh, a Navy card.
Yeah.
It looks like a Navy card to match.
Thank you. Let's just see what we got here.
I didn't put down my factory on here, and I started another factory production here. So just so you guys know.
Okay,
Yep.
so
All
you
right.
might as
I'll
well
do
put
it
your
after.
factory down.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
tough.
but it's tucked behind him. All right, so there's a giant pile of guys in there, and he's just built a new factory and a fort.
Went forward, yeah.
Yeah, and since it's a city, fort works for all directions,
Mm-hmm.
just like the small islands, special fortification rules,
Yeah.
which is handy for you.
Well, that one actually has mountain, I think, because between this roundel and this roundel,
Yes, there's
a mountain.
there's from roundel to roundel, you do have to cross mountain. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're correct.
there's a
So
mountain,
that counts as a
city,
mountain border or
fortification.
whatever, or however you want to
Yeah,
say it,
yeah.
or mountains. Some of them are a little difficult.
So
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, starting a new factory down there, which is not good for the British. Although we do have this tiny little factory down here, we haven't had any money to spend on because we're spending all our money up there. And I see that changing in a hurry. Let's see, the Japanese came in, they took this, they took that. I took this one back and totally failed to take that one back. And now this Navy's all in range of this. So I'm probably going to lose it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
No. But if I can take a bunch of hits in the process, maybe he'll run away
That's right.
and save half of his navy. With all that other navy he's got, why wouldn't
Yeah,
he?
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, if you're in my boat where this is the only navy you had, you might run back. But
Mm.
you got capital ships here,
Yeah.
there, and stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Russia has punched into northern Manchuria again. For some.
We're trading it back and
Yeah,
forth.
you guys keep trading a buck here and a buck there, and Russia's staying alive somewhere in between the 7 or 8 to
Yeah.
12 mark, depending on what he can capture in a turn.
Yeah.
So, Russia's built a couple more militia in here. So, I don't know what he's going to do with it.
At this point, James, if you wanted to, you can declare war on Italy, and then you have another unit, another commander. If you wanted to.
Yeah, I can do that.
That's true.
Let's do that.
So, Russia's declaring war on Italy just because it can.
Just because it can, it's got very little else to do.
And gets a free commander for it, so why not? There's a +1 to your militia attack.
Maybe I
so.
should make it an admiral of the Navy that can't do anything.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, the admiral of the Navy that's trapped and can't leave.
Do the one in Caspian Sea, how about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the guy in the Caspian Sea. I'm not really sure why you have that.
That's
guy.
something weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
Unless we.
I don't know if that's a typo or what. I mean, there's a convoy line in there, but
Yeah.
I guess you could fly a plane in there to convoy it. So maybe that's why they
Yeah,
have that
that's-
ship there
that's
so
fair.
that you can escort it just
Something
in
that's
case.
fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well,
But other than that, I can't see why that would be
I'm gonna
there.
put him here. That's
Yeah.
cool with everybody. Can we do that?
I think it shows up in your
Because you got no
Oh, is it
ports where you
capital?
can even
Oh, okay,
build a
right.
replacement.
Okay, let's put him here then.
Yep. All right.
Can you rail commanders
And
around?
that's it for this. You gotta stay out of
Yeah, I
here.
think so. They don't need
America's
to-
doing its turn, and I'll be
Oh.
back next turn. Okay, RC here again. I'm in Prince George, British Columbia. We're playing Global War 3645. Version 3, prototype rules on a prototype map. So nothing's finalized or for sure yet that we know of, and it was a lot of fun. We just finished the game here. It was January 45 we just finished here. So we've, the income's tells a pretty clear tale here. Germany at 76, America at 58, Japan at 46, and then everybody else is in the top row. France is pretty strong, Italy's stronger, and Britain's a little bit stronger. But Canada's never gone down, but Russia's way down. So that's been the story of the game here. Let's see. We played with a bunch of optional rules, and it was a lot of fun, and I think we really enjoyed it. But I'm just going to give you a quick pan over how the game turned out at the end here. So the last couple turns, I may or may not have done video on all of them. It's been a pretty long 3 days, and we haven't had a lot of free time, so we got quite a few cards out here. So I'm going to go over some of these cards a little bit here and describe what happened over the course of the last bit of the game. The last turn here, or last two turns, Russia and Italy have been convoy raiding like crazy, as you can see with the subs, and you can convoy raid with surface ships, and they were doing that as well, down here and there, all over the place. Convoy raiding us there. Japan was convoy raiding here. Japan was convoy raiding with surface ships. It's been nuts. Anyway, so convoys have been pretty heavy. I tried doing this for an air gap. I managed to buy 2 seaplanes for the British and seal the air gap from both sides, but I needed to have an extra aircraft on combat air patrol here and there. And when I had that line of 4, I could stop the subs from coming through, and I put another one on cap in the English Channel here, and that seemed to work out. And I didn't manage to kill the subs effectively, but I could stop them for 1 turn, and then the next turn they would launch past, right? It just seemed I needed to kind of contain them and try and give myself an opportunity to hunt them down. That's the only thing I could do. The subs were hunting in wolf packs, and I lost cruisers and battleships and fleet carriers and whatever, because you had packs of 3 to 5 subs that would just spread out similar to what they're doing there, and a couple over here on this convoy line. And then when I put an escort here, or a carrier here to escort so that I could start hunting the subs, they'd all just collapse in on it and take it out. So eventually I had to resort to wandering around with a giant navy all clustered together just to keep it alive. And this navy card here is actually that one there in the English Channel. A few notes on what was going on. We've had actually France break through. The Germans built the defense here, and France broke through, but we didn't have enough troops to keep going. But we did that because we knew if we had to do something here in order to break the German buildup, so that he wouldn't be able to flow over and take us in France. So then the turn before that, Germany had attacked Belgium, and then the British had gone into Belgium here and eliminated some air power, and that helped. We were playing with an optional rule where you could scramble to adjacent land zones, and as you can see, this is Munich here, right? or Bavaria in this game, and West Germany and Berlin both have an air base adjacent. So if you had 3 aircraft here and 3 aircraft here, and you attacked Bavaria, they could scramble 3 aircraft and then another 3 for 6 additional aircraft in there. And that seriously hampered our ability to plan anything out. But that's how things worked out. And at the end of the game here, France never lost an inch of ground. We lost a neutral Belgium, and then we took it back right away the same turn. And we managed to hold quite the line. We also attempted here, and France moved in a pulse, and then Britain came in and defended there on its turn, right? We came in to help reinforce. We were trying to get Rome, but we didn't have enough units. And when Germany did its turn, it managed to put enough aircraft in there that it was just an impossible feat to try and take out Rome. Here's an example here. See that card up there? You can see there's a couple of planes, and the Germans were using these air transports to fly in, guys, and reinforce, and they were building militia like crazy. The black shirts as well. So that's how that went out. Yeah, throughout the game here, what else happened? Italy's pretty much running the med here, and I'm down here. In the past turn here, Britain had taken a stack of infantry and cavalry and whatnot out of Iraq using these Gurkhas, which are mountain infantry, and some armor. These 2 armor here, actually, they rolled I think it was a 10, 11, or 12, or 11 and 12 in deserts, so they were forced to retreat. So that's a nice feature. I like the fact that desert just limits your move to 1 no matter what. Your move in desert is 1. You can't move 2 to get to the desert. It's 1 in the desert, you're done. Once you hit desert, you stop. You stop. You stop. You stop. So it eliminates everybody's second move. So it kind of forces you to use transports to move faster on the southern edge of the Mediterranean. Alright, what else was going on here? This never got attacked. We never did get involved too much in the jungle down here, which is unfortunate, but so be it. Japan has been on a tear. They completely annihilated the American Navy on this side and had a dominating force left over here, so America's never been able to build any units. Japan has landed in the Pacific Northwest as well. They've finally been repulsed, and this last turn these units got placed only because it was the last turn, right? So we'll see how that goes. Japan's still got a few cards here, but that's all down here around Australia. So Australia is really getting hammered by Japan right now. And we called the game, so it's been a stalemate, as in nothing's really moving forward. Japan's romping around. Americans haven't been able to do anything on that side. But on this side, the Americans have just set up their transport shuck, and I'm going to show that to you here right now. So America's got a strategic move of 4 units that can move from a friendly base to a friendly naval base. It doesn't matter what type or who owns it, it just says friendly. Alright, so it doesn't have to be yours. Friendly, right? So they're moving 1, 2, 3, right? Just from their base, they got to move 2, so they move 3. Then they move from here, 1, 2, 3. And then using the friendly Navy bases in here, they do a strategic move of 4, so they can move 4 transports here loaded, 4 transports there loaded, and then they can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right back home using the strategic rail move or naval move. And they have a maximum of 4 units, so they move 4 empty transports back. And this way they have an 8-unit shuck that's just started, right? They can drop 8 units every turn. And they've been dropping them here in Belgium. And that card for Belgium is actually this card right here. So I got a stack of, quite a few stacks of British. This minty, pale green, almost white is the Canadian troops that have moved in here. These Canadians actually were moved via strategic move with this transport, because Britain's got a move of 3, so that's one transport, and one guy on the transport counts as a second unit, and the second guy on the transport counts as the third unit, right? So that's the whole unit, right? It's either 3 ships, or if you load a transport, the guys loaded count, right? So they move from out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Strategic naval movement, and dump their guys off in there. So now if they wanted to, they can move 3 transports back next turn for strategic naval movement, and then they would only be able to move 1 with 1 loaded. All right, so that's Belgium, and this stack here, this France here, that's this side of the Maginot Line over there. Still quite the stack. Germany's got a stack in there as well, but they're quite weakened, although they have way more money, so they're just piling the infantry in there. It's starting to look like the whole game. This border here has looked like World War One. It felt like we were playing 1914. Neither side had a distinct advantage, and Germany didn't want to spend too much money there, because as you can see, Germany has been taking over the Middle East. They've aligned Turkey, and they've taken over most of Russia. So it's been quite the game. Let's see what else is going on. Here's the Navy for the Americans here. And this is the stack in London that's been using these, what is it called? Narrow crossing rules. Here, see if I can't show that to you a little bit better. Yeah, you see these red ports here and these little dotted lines with a number 2 in them. It's very faint to see. These are narrow channel crossings, and on each one of these, any nation may non-combat move 2 units on each line. And there's an optional rule in there that we agreed to, where Marines can, without transport, amphibiously assault in either direction off this line. This is from the City of London into Belgium and Picardia. All right, so throughout the game here, since France has owned this, Britain has been just rail. It's basically like a 2 strategic rail move almost. Same concept. So just moving 2 guys across the channel every turn. And now that I have this, when I attacked here, I amphibious assaulted with 2 Marines on the line, and then with using 4 transports, an additional 8 units. Right? So that's how things have been going over there for most of the game. There we go. Let's zoom this out. Perfect. All right. What's been going on? Russia has been getting pounded the entire game. Russia only owns a few territories in here. They own this one was worth 3. This one's worth 1. This one's nothing and nothing. They got 4 points worth of income at the moment, right? 4 and a war. That's it. But Russia's been very busy defending itself, and it's been in this situation the entire game since Germany first declared war in July 39, and they used their double move against Russia. All right, so we had a bunch of points added up, and I'm gonna have to go over my points again here, but at the end of the game, this is how it worked out. The US had 1, Commonwealth had 2, France had 1, for a total of 4. USSR, even though it's been completely decimated, still had 2 and 3, and a third one for 3. Germany had 5, Italy had 3, and Japan had 4, for a total of 12. So obviously, winner at 12. So far back, you might as well be last. And considering the situation Russia was in, I mean, these guys, yeah, it's embarrassing almost, right? So Russia still maintained this, right? And they took actually Portugal as well for a point, and they had Madrid. Now this one was a iffy one because it's points that Russia did not originally own. And technically Russia didn't, the Spanish did, and they were playing a civil war, so we weren't sure if to give them 1 point for this or a second point for this. So since we erred on the side of caution, we gave them 2. It didn't really matter because they still came in last place, so it didn't affect anything. All right. And I can't remember what Russia's other point was for. I'm gonna have to stop the video and go over those victory objectives to cover it. But yeah, that's in one. And if you look at the board here, you can see all these Japanese units in here. There's tons of them. Most of these guys in here actually were all militia. They've just been, we had to use so many militia chips because of how Jinx plays. He did an excellent job as the Axis. But with all the militia chips he was using, like a lot of his armies here, they can't move. They're trapped where they are, right? So, like most of the guys in Germany here, including the guys down here, I know these were militia, those were militia. Some of these stacks, that was a giant stack of militia. You know what I mean? So, they would hold the ground and whatever, but it's because Russia kept building militia that could move. So he literally had to leave a guy in every territory. Because if it was vacant, then Russia could just walk a militia in. Say this is vacant, right? And then bang, Russia gets this. And because we were playing with the veteran guards, or the elite Russian, I can't remember the name off the top of my head here. I need to read it again. We had I've looked at so many expansions while I've been here, but the veteran, these became a veteran unit, so +1 attack and defense. And then they could just go attack the city at +1, so they're attacking at 2, same as an infantry, and they defend at 3, right? That seriously changes how the game plays. And they only cost $2 to start. And there's so much of Russia that it's been a nuts thing going on in there. Anyway, I'm gonna just go over a few of the additional rules we played with, because why not? So this is the checklist we took out of the rule book, the new prototype rule book, and these are some of the options we were playing with. We used all the terrain, which was the mountains. Mountain rules have changed. No units can move 2 to get into mountains, or through mountains, or butts through mountains, or into mountains, or whatever. So as soon as you have to move 1 to get into mountains. So you have to be right next to the mountain to move into it, and you can only move 1. The only exception is cavalry. Now deserts, they have an effect on everybody can only move 1 as well. And with the desert rules, that's all really. There wasn't a terrain modifier. There wasn't a +1 or -1 to any type of unit. There's no desert unit. But that was, I found them the most easy and simple to play with, and a lot of fun. And if you rolled 11 or a 12 on your vehicle class units, they would break down and they would be forced to retreat. Similar to what happens in China, the KMT. Marsh, our jungle, we didn't actually involve any of that. But with the marsh rules, you couldn't use medium or heavy armor in marsh, or not marsh, the jungle, sorry. So we have that over here. It is depicted in the green dots here on the map. These are jungle troops. Actually, those are the Gurkhas. They're mountain infantry that have first strike in jungle and don't suffer a penalty in jungle, right? So these guys can attack at 3 and defend at 5. An elite infantry, basically. All right, now what else do we have? Marsh, I'm not too clear on what we were supposed to do with marsh. I'm not sure where we had marsh in the game. Well, we had some marsh here, but that's impassable. There's this marsh up here, and I can't remember what the rules are. It never came into effect in the game. Finland aligned, it never got attacked, so I cannot tell you how that comes into the game. And then Tundra here, we got, here's an example of Tundra, the top of Russia here. You can see the Tundra symbol. It goes all the way across the north of the map. And it basically just makes that area impassable to all units. It played no part in the game, because usually you don't go up there. The only time it played a part in the game was up here. We have a Navy base, and we were just sending Lend-Lease to the Russians while we could until the Germans took it over. And technically there's a rail line that comes into this zone, and by the old rules, the rail line that entered the zone in any way would serve as any part of the zone. So I would assume it would go to that naval base, but it was kind of unclear. We had to just guess on that. All right, river rules, same as the other games. The only difference was you could use rivers and canals for strategic rail movement and to connect a supply path. All right, so that was a little bit different. Never really came into play for us. Combat move and canal. We agreed to this one that you could not combat move through neutral canals. An example of that is this one here. You've got the Italian canal here, or the originally British Suez Canal, right? With that rule, you can't, as Italy, take a transport through and then attack the canal from the back, especially if it's got like defenses built on the side and coastal guns, and then you bypass them and attack it from the back side, right? So we played with that rule. The Himalayan air hump, it never came into effect here. Britain was never capable of lend-leasing anything or flying any units over the Himalayas. By the time the Burma Road was open, I think China was down to Yunnan, and they had it open for one turn, and then they lost Yunnan. So it never was a factor in this game. Japan went all China right away, so it never affected anything. Let's see, what else do we got here? Variable game ending. We did not. We were planning on using that, but we were getting so tired, and this game was an obvious stalemate. And in 3 or 4 turns, if the Americans got involved, there was a chance that this side was really going to turn. But at the same time, in 3 or 4 turns, it was obvious that Australia was going to fall. And America was never going to be able to build enough of a naval presence in here until about 6 turns from now. So it would still be a more or less global stalemate. What other games do we play here? Nation-specific victory. That's, you use the national objectives instead of just the cities. Damaging facilities under construction. We had it in there, but we never actually took advantage of that. We didn't build too many facilities. Carrier aircraft retreat. We allowed carrier aircraft on carriers must retreat if carrier sinks. 1 space movement. I'm okay with that. Screening forces. We had a lot of fun with that. It's if you played the first version of 36, you know how you could. Here, let's make an example here. Here, I'm gonna make an example with some Canadians. So you're going to amphibiously assault this Japanese place here. Let's say that's Japanese. So you're going to amphibiously assault. So you need to split your forces. So these guys are going to fight. And if that battle wins, then you're going to land the transport with the dude over there. That's how it works. It's that simple. But if you don't win this fight, then these guys don't go. All right? Anyhow, pretty simple. I did a video on that earlier where Japan was attacking the U.S. to open the war up. So there we go. Surface raiding ships. Yeah, we were doing that. So you can they raid just like a submarine, but no plus anything. Mine warfare. We agreed to that, so you could do a mine raid. So a submarine could raid like a surface warship and not get attacked back. Never actually used that. Convoy raiding aircraft, we never used that, although it was in the game. Damaging railways, we had that. Rail gauge, where the rail gauge changes here. Your units had to stop on strategic rail move and then keep going after. Motorized upgrade, yes. Chinese victory, yes. Suez reroute, so reroute with that.
Is somebody looking for hand grenades in here?
I don't know. You're welcome to come in, though. Yeah, we tried the Italian surrender, but we never succeeded on that one.
Yeah.
If we could have managed to take Rome, they would have joined the Allies. But like I was saying earlier, they just kept piling in all their... We almost had a chance, but we didn't have enough units.
Yeah.
And
we didn't want to
then
use the
after
boats.
that, they kept going. And if we buggered this up, we would have been wide open to lose France and Paris, which would have meant that these white guys would have aligned to the Germans and giving them even more money and units for free.
White guys are always doing that.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. We didn't try the forcing a straight.
We were trying to be careful not to
Yeah.
not to take out the Italian Navy because we were trying to steal it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We didn't want to kill the Italian Navy because we wanted to get it. And then they had that forcing straight rule that we agreed to, but we never did use it.
No.
Yeah. Although I like that where, you know, Britain could say no and you could still roll through, and then Britain rolls a 5 or less.
I can't remember
Your
what it
ship's
is, yeah.
dead. I believe it was a 5 or less. Could be wrong, but you had a dice roll, and if you managed to survive the dice roll, then you continued on through the strait. What else do we have? Strategic naval moves, those were wicked. Already
I like
covered
those,
that.
yeah.
The air redeployment, we didn't really use it too much.
Couple times.
Couple times, but it was really handy where you could move you could move your fighter 4 spaces, and then you could move it again, and that was really handy. All non-combat, so you couldn't like fly from London to Suez and attack a guy, but you could fly from London to Suez to reinforce. Amphibious assault on area crossing, we already covered that. That was Italy and French players aligning neutrals. That was smart. Like, it wasn't much, but we're using that rule. We allowed when Belgium got attacked. France got this, and France needed the money more than the British did, considering the situation there. And this is the only time I've ever seen France never lose a single part of its home country, including Corsica. You didn't lose that either.
That's not part of the home country, but
No,
yeah,
but
they never even lost that.
you didn't lose Corsica. The only stuff you lost was this stuff across here at the very end. This earlier, and he didn't even take the second piece.
No.
Just took the one.
Yeah, I lost. I didn't lose any territory until today.
Yeah. Saturday,
French
Sunday, France. For the first 2 days of this game, France had everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. I've never seen that before. Anyhow, I'm gonna stop here and I'll double check those victory points. Okay, the Allies, they got all their victory conditions based on containing communism, right? The U.S. got their 1 point because there were less than 3 new nations or former colonies possessed by the Russians, and the British got 1 for containing communism. USSR has no land units in German, Italian, French, or British home country, or in Austria, Denmark, Spain, or Norway. That was a success. FEC preserved the empire. Not because they preserved everything, but they preserved India, Burma, Ceylon, and Malay, and Hong Kong down here on the corner of China there, where all those 3 destroyers are. Does not count. Otherwise, I would have lost that point. So that's how the Commonwealth got 2. And then France got 1, same thing, eliminating communism. The very last turn of the game here, the Americans came in and attacked the Russians and took that out. Now, there's a new rule in this game where if Russia owns anything that is more than 1 space away from its home territory, so here's an example. This is their home territory. This is 1 space and 1 space. They can take these no problem. But if they take that one, then the Allies are able to declare war on them until they lose possession of that, or they give it back. Say if Russia happens to own this. Here, let me grab a roundel here. Say if this is Russian possessed and they give it back to France, then that would end the war between the two, right? So there were a couple of options there. Let's see what else was going on here. The Russians, they got 2 points, as I said, for these 2 areas here, worth a point outside of their home territory. And an ice-free port, because they have an ice-free port in Extremadura on the Atlantic. All right, and they added a new tech, the technological superiority. It's identical to the American one where you need tech. One of the differences is you need heavy bombers, long-range aircraft, strategic rockets, and heavy armor. And the Americans need jets instead of heavy armor. So kind of a nation-specific version of that. The Germans got yeah, they got 3 of their 4 possible objectives. Lebensraum. Here, let me just grab this marker here. The one was for owning Poland. The second was for owning the 3 Baltic states, and the third was for West Arabia, Western Ukraine, and Belarusia ownership. And they eliminated communism by owning Moscow and or 2 Soviet cities. Well, they own Moscow and 4 other Soviet cities, so they more than met the measure of getting those 3 points. And they make more than $50. So they got 2, 3, 4, 5 out of their possible 7, right? Italy expanded the empire. They've got their 2 locations, so they got 2 for that. And they have Mediterranean dominance. They had twice as many capital ships, right? Japan colonialism. They ended it with more than $50, so they got 2 points from that. Pacific security. They had all the islands they needed, and they had more capital ships as well. Asian security. I think that was it. They just got 3. No, 4. No, there's another one. Raw materials there. They had for each of the following, right? They did not have Malay. They had the Philippines though, so that gave them another point, right? Philippines and Sumatra, that gave them 2 points there and 2 points for colonialism. So, yeah, that's where the points came from. So yeah, it was a clear Axis victory by Jinx. Congratulations to Jinx. Thank you very much for coming out and playing. I just think I just found a glass. Anyhow. Alright, so that was it. My one thing, they're malicious. I'll go into some other stuff in a separate video, detailing some of the things I noticed about the game. But that was just an overall run of the game here. There's a couple other things I had issues with that may need to be corrected, or maybe I misunderstood the rules, so I would like to either have the rules more clear, or maybe I didn't get the concept. So in which case, maybe we need to word it differently for the instructions. There's nothing I say in here that sounds even slightly critical is critical of the people designing this game. This is a monstrous effort. All my comments are based solely on thanking them for their effort and trying to assist them by giving them an extra eye for a couple things that maybe somebody who doesn't know the ins and outs of what they've been talking about notices, hey, I don't understand what you're saying, or we thought you meant this, or whatever, right? Or, hey, we tried it and this seemed to happen. Oh, you know, or maybe our play group plays differently. Anyhow, see you later. Have fun. Bye.